Hello. Today we are talking about greatness. Ready? Let's do that. Let's talk about great. Welcome on a new episode of the playlist of mastery. And if you didn't already watch my videos about the playlist of mastery, go watch them. They're very interesting, a lot of fun, I promise. So yeah, today, we already talked about different steps in order to get started into the journey of becoming successful and everything that we need to do in order to reach a very good level, a mastery level of performance. But when we are looking at the sport or any field for that matter, there is always some of them that seems to just getting it way better than the other. So even though every other guy on the field are very good, those few guys are just one step further, one level higher. They are not just good, they are great. They have reached greatness. And so we may ask the question, why? It's not the amount of training hours. I mean, all of those guys train insanely. So what makes the difference between them and every other guys or girls? Because let's not be sexist, huh? Sorry. In my opinion, it comes down to the intensity. And this is something that we see in, every guys, Tiger Woods, Michael Phelps, Kobe Bryant. I think, I'm not very basket guy, but I think Kobe Bryant was talking about the Mamba mindset. Something. So when you enter into the field game is on, is totally a different person that who is normally is and is obsessed about winning, focus. And so this idea of intensity is rising your focus when it matters at an insane level. So, but the issue is you cannot do that all the time. This is something that fluctuates. Of course, you will want to be at the highest of your capabilities all the time, but that's not possible. Games, or I'm going to take the example of golf, for instance, because this is something that I'm focusing on. We are staying almost 4 hours on the field. We cannot sustain an insane level of concentration for that much of a period of time. And so, and this applies everywhere. You cannot sustain because the difference between the great and the good is the great are able to reach those highest level of intensity when it matters the most. And that's the most important, when it matters the most. And when it doesn't matter that much, they're able to cool down, to rest, to recover. So then when it matters, they are able to get back up to those level of intensity. And so first of all, you really need that. You need to understand those difference between low level of intensity and a high level of intensity, the moment where you need high level of intensity and the moment where you don't necessarily need that much, and then to be able to train. And that's the next part. But before that, so you understand that, okay, you need to operate on a 2 different level, and sometimes you need to push through to highest level of intensity. And so there is this is your baseline performance and your highest performance possible. And so what you need to train is, and that's also something actually that I derive from from running, where when the runners or endurance training or train primarily 80% of the time on low intensity, high volume exercise, which establish their baseline, their base level. And so they are improving this base level to become more and more performant, and so they can do more and more volume at better and better performance each time. But the 20% that is left is focused on training on high intensity. And when I'm saying intensity, is not necessarily high cardio, or I mean, it will depend on your field. It can be high intensity of focus and concentration, high intensity physically, in terms of endurance, in terms of strength, in terms of explosiveness. And so, yeah, it's going to, this idea of intensity depends on your field, but it's true everywhere, where you need to spend time forcing yourself into this state of high focus intensity state, and then cool down, and really having this phase where when you need to do it, you can do it. You can do it on demand. And so this is what you need to do. You take the situation that you want to be high in intensity to really reach an insane level of performance. Then you go and do it, and then after that you rest, you cool down, you recover, and then when you feel really recovered and so on, you get back on the field and you do it again. And so, because intensity is really primarily a question of neural system, where you are training your neural system to give you the necessary energy when you need it. And so that's why you need to rest, so your neural system is cooling down, you're in a relaxed state, because each time you are going to need this high intensity, you need to understand also that you are going to start from a state of low intensity. And so if you want to have an effective training, you need each session that you are doing in high intensity, you need to start from a low intensity standpoint, because the warm-up to get there is as important as the fact that you are getting there. And yes, this is that. So maximum intensity when it matters, and then recover and rejuvenate your energy when in the down moments. And so this is really, you need to understand those waves where things matter, things doesn't, things matter, things doesn't, and so on. And so, and as you get better at doing it on demand, and I'm going to take the example of golf. As I said, it's something that I can relate to, and maybe you can also. But you have the overall tournament, where in the tournament there is going decisive times and other times that are less decisive, and so on. But inside the course, actually each shot are high intensity moment, and each time between shots are low intensity moment. And so you can either say I'm managing the tournament overall, where I'm going to have some downtime during few holes, and then I'm going to have a few holes with high level of intensity, and the closer I'm getting to the final and to the win, for instance, if you are getting closer to that, you are going to rise your level of intensity and so on. So this is a macro management of this idea of intensity, but then you need also to manage it on the micro, which is in golf, for instance, each and every single one of your shots. But yeah, you need to understand that your focus, your attention that you need during those high intensity moments is a scarce resources. And as you train, as you get better, you will have a bigger reserve, a bigger amount of resources that you can use for those important moments, but you cannot use them all the time. And so you need to recover in order to get back. And that's why you can see a lot of athletes that maybe they haven't really get that to master this point, because they are able to perform and so on. But when time matter, suddenly they just burn down. They just crash. From an external observer, you don't understand why they have just crushed under the pressure and so on. So and people say, oh, that's just mental, that's just psychological. No, maybe in some way it is, but that's primarily because they have not managed their their scarce resources of mental intensity. And so if they needed that to reach this point where they have win, it just means that their base level is not high enough to be able to sustain them when they are in downtime, where they are in low mental intensity. Because this is that the reason why you want also to rise your baseline level. So you it's about when you are down, when you are in low level of mental intensity, you are still able to perform and to keep moving forward into your performance. Yeah, I think that's it for today. That's not that bad. That was a short video, shorter than usual, but that's a concept that is very important. That's not much. When you have reached this level of becoming really good at something, difference between good and greatness is not that much. It's just quality of work rather than quantity. And that's why I said, at some level, everybody is working hard. So that's no more a question about that. Everybody is working their shit off in order to get better and better. But what is going to make the difference is the quality of training. And so it's the way you focus. And this maximum intensity should be part of your training. About, I would say, 20%. You need to spend the vast majority of your time improving your base level, which is very comfortable, something that you can do, repeat over and over and over without any effort, that doesn't actually get you that much exhausted and so on. But 10 to 20% of the time, this is about focusing on high level intensity, which should just drain you to death, almost. And keep doing it, from alternating from low level to high level, low level to high level on demand. Because if you can't do it on demand, what's the point? Okay, you can reach high level of intensity, but you need to do it on demand. And so also, maybe I can finish on that. This idea of flow state, where I remember Phil Mickelson and I think it was Henrik Stenson, where at the British Open they had just a final run that was just insane. Those two players were just on another planet compared to any other player, and so both of them were in the flow state. And so this flow state is a maximum intensity that they have been able to reach during an entire day. And so, but that need to be prepared. So they have reached. Everything came together to this point in time where they had the level of energy required in order to maintain and sustain this level of concentration for that long of a period of time. And that's why we did have a very amazing match at this point. But so, as I said, there is different level, the macro and the micro. And so that's also something that you may know, that using periodization and so on in your training, where you are focusing on different area of your training in order to get at the right moment your maximum level of energy and performance required. And so if you are able to do that properly, you will have so much energy that you will be able to maintain a very high level of intensity for much longer than you can usually do. And so if you are already trained to get this high level of energy on demand, you will be able to do it a lot, and this will make the difference between all other players. And every time you have seen any player on any sport reaching an insane level of performance for an entire game and so on. This is because everything came together for a maximum level of intensity that they have been able to sustain, which the other player was not able to do, weren't able to do. So yeah, maximum level of intensity. Really good, powerful concept. Go from good to great. Thanks you for watching, and I see you next time.